Hey everyone, Egman here with another video. I kind of thought like, okay, if they were releasing cards on Wednesday, they must have a big announcement, and it must be a ban list one. I almost was so sure about this. I almost recorded a video last night where I was going to do my like the cards I thought would get hit, but yeah, I'm happy I didn't because that video would be totally worthless. So yeah, so they got some new band cards, which are going to be, I think the 26th is when this is going to take effect. So, and I'm going to front load this real quick. I've already seen a lot of people's reaction to this, and they think it's going to be terrible. It's going to ruin the game and all that. And I think that's really reactionary and not very fair to the game. And also, we don't know if this is a good or bad change. The best thing I always say is just try it out, right? Play games, see if it's bad. It's going to restrict deck design, and I know for some of these cards, people own these cards. I know at least it's for specifically one of them. One of them could be pretty pricey at times. So I'm sorry to hear, if someone lost money because of that, but I think this is going to help the game moving forward. And if you can't make the deck that you used to play, I'm sorry about that. This kind of sucks, but I think this is a good change moving forward. So let's just jump on into it if you haven't seen it. So first we've got Battering Laser. Wow, who could see this card coming? This card has been getting a lot of debate lately. It's one of the cards from set one where you think it's super powerful, and it really can just like win games all by itself. Not being able to negate a really big attack is very powerful in a lot of ways. Being able to just kind of guarantee a win, assuming you have this card, right? So like a lot of times you can win without this card, but just having this like guarantees it. So they have three reasons why they are banning this card. So one, it is the only counter negation card with energy cost of one. It has a few restrictions on usage, so it can be included easily in almost any deck. That is completely correct. It is like one of the biggest reasons people are running yellow. It's crazy. Two, combining this card with Mirror Creator Absorbed and Furthering Destruction Trumpet provides player with overwhelming power for low energy, allowing them to win easily once their opponent reaches 2 life. I think this is completely correct. And finally, in terms of design, it's difficult for us to create high playable, high cost counter cards as a long term, as long as this card exists. Yeah, it's because there are a lot of like counter cards that they're making for 2 energy, which I think is pretty reasonable for their costs, like Preemptive Strike and all the kind of clones of that. So the idea is that you can negate a 2 energy card for 1 energy feels real bad in a lot of ways. So I think that's a good way. And I think they brought up Mirror because I think a lot of people thought Mirror should get kind of banned. I don't think they're going to do that right now since they just made the new Toa leader, and they obviously want that deck to work. So they're just kind of going to deal with that. So, but I think Battering has been a really playable card and potentially broken. I'd say I could see Battering at 1 being all right as well, but just as like a single way, you can being able to stack up with 2 or 3 just kind of seems degenerate sometimes. But I think this is a good call. And it will open up a lot of play in the future. So there's that. Next up, we've got okay, Shugash. Okay, I love this decision. I've been preaching this for such a long time, and I think this is pretty controversial because hashtag Cronulla exists in the game, right? But I think this card just needs to go. The fact that there is a silver bullet doesn't mean that it it's completely fixed. Having to like have a 13 card side deck just because you have to run Cronulla feels really bad. And I don't really like this card existing in the game. I feel like it makes the best of 1 meta and best of 3 meta just completely skewed, and it's just crazy. So I'm happy this card is going away. It's making locals a lot more tolerable because right, because you can just go 1 week, you decide, hey, I'm gonna run a Shugesh deck and just run on everyone just because no one's prepared for it, right? And that feels just really bad. And I think it's good to go. And so not only is this card extremely versatile, it changes how we have to design cards with energy cost of 3 or less and gives improper advantage to aggro decks. While time control Cronulla can be used to keep this card in check, we feel that forcing players to include it just to neutralize this card makes deck building less fun and restricts how players play the game in general. Very well put, in my opinion. And I really do appreciate these design notes. I don't know if I've already said that, but just being able to hear why they are banning these cards instead of just saying like, oh, just guess the reasons why. I think it's good. And that's something that Bandai's always been really good at. I feel like anytime they make a change of anything, they try to be really vocal with their players and in their decisions. So I think this could have happened any time in the last year. So I'm happy. I'm happy it's happening, and especially since it's been creeping up these last couple of months. So there's that. All right, this one. I personally felt like this one was coming, just with how they're designing their future cards, but it might be a shock to some people. So MySQL Zone, it hasn't been seeing like a super lot of play, but if this card existed in this next set, I think it would. So for people who don't know, it's active main for 0. Send 3 cards from drop area to your warp, draw 1, and then your opponents can't play or counterplay for duration of the turn. So this I think was just going to happen when it existed. The only counterplay existed that was seeing play when this card was made was Cold Bloodlust, and so it was really good for Cold Bloodlust, and there was no other reason to run it, so it was kind of a dead card at times too. So, but I think this has to go, and then it makes stuff like Mutaido really strong. It makes stuff like who else? Who else would be really strong with this? Just any of their new counterplay cards. If a card was meant to get around that kind of stuff, they'd have deflect. But I think this is a good call. And they say we're currently doing our best to make Dragon Ball Super card game an interactive game, but being able to lock out your opponent's counterplay cards creates one-side gameplay. This card also restricts the design of future counterplay cards. If we design any counterplay cards with high cost going forward, they may never be used simply because this card exists. I completely agree. There's a game on my stream yesterday that I had the counterplay card, and then you just wait till turn 4 and played MySQL Zone. I'm like, oh cool, I just left 2 energy open for no reason. So that's a really anecdotal thing, but I think being able to since they're making these cards that take 2 energy to, or even 3 with like the new cooler to play, I think the being able to, your opponent not being able to use 0 or 1 energy to negate it is a reasonable play. And because you lose a lot of advantage by just leaving your 2 energy open, I feel like. And so being able to mitigate that cost and all that, I think it's what Bandai wants to do. And if they want to do this, I think this is a good play. So there's that. And then there's a single limited card, and that is a Cold Bloodlust. I think this card has been like the example for a counterplay for a really long time, and I can't imagine there being a stronger version. Like I can't imagine a power creep Cold Bloodlust. And of course they can make it better by making it like 0 cost and non-restricted with leader, but just in general, like this card strictly made leaders good, and I don't think that's a super great card design thing when it was first made. And I think I can say this to all these cards except for maybe Shugesh. I hate Shugesh. They were great when they existed, but like when they first came out, but in that card design, but in the future moving forward, I could see Cold Bloodless being just really really good. So in where they want more powerful counter cards to be like 2 energy and that kind of stuff, and I think if they would make Cold Bloodless 2 energy, it'd probably stick around, but instead of that they just want to make it at 1, which I think is fair, and I think we're going to see more generic counters, and I think there is one. I think there is one that does that. I think it's for 2 energy, but I haven't covered this card, so how am I supposed to know? But I think this card at 1 just makes a lot of sense, especially with minus Killer Zone at 0, not being able to, and with minus Killer Zone and Battering Laser at 0, being able to only run one of these, I think is fine. I think this card is a great like one of card 2, just because like if you're running, it's kind of like Trunks, right? Like of course you want to run this card and all that, and it creates options, but it's not having more than one is really oppressive. So yeah, so this is one of the strongest counterplay cards, and we find it that it restricts card design and throws off gameplay balance. If we ban Battering and MySQL Zone, it would necessarily become necessary to ban this card as well, since the primary cards that can deal with it would be banned. This would also card decks unable to use this card to be considerably less powered. However, since this card requires the use of leader card, there are significantly fewer decks that can use it. We believe limiting Cold Bloodless to 1 deck should weaken it to an acceptable power level. So I actually didn't read that beforehand, but I think I pretty much quoted it without knowing. So I think this is a cool design. And now if you only got one from like the hobby promo stuff, now you can use it, right? Now you got a completely foil set of Cold Bloodless. So congrats to you. So, and lastly, there's an errata card, Furgus. They pretty much just said you can't. Cards in your battle area can't be placed in your owner's drop area by your leader skills. I think there's like some weird interactions with like Khalifa and that kind of stuff, so they just fixed it to strictly work with the way it was supposed to anyway. So that's fine there. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think about this. I'm gonna one last spiel. I think a lot of people are kind of upset like this didn't mess with. I think a lot of people are thinking that Victory Strike Height of Mastery should have been hit, and I think based on my current interactions with the new cards and all that, I think it has been. I think the game is changing where it's not. There are going to be ways to go around it. Like right now, there's no way to stop Mutaido. Like it's just strictly. I think maybe Cold Bloodless can, right, because it's you can counterplay, right. So you can Cold Bloodless during Mutaido. That's literally the only way, and you only have one Cold Bloodless. So that's the only way you can stop Mutaido. And then also this might sound like a pipe dream, but now they can't Heroes Mafuba and Mafuba can stop it too. Just in general, like Heroes Mafuba just got a lot better just because you can't Cold Bloodless it. You can't counter it. And all that stuff, like all of these cards, the Broly version used, the Chile version used two of the they use Battering Laser and Cold Bloodlust, and I also think that in general I think it did hit those cards, and because once again if you look at all the let's go DBS decks, go to metagame, and we just look at like simply the first Broly one that's on the list. Like here's Anthony's. He won with the whatever. So he's got a Shugesh, he's got some Cold Bloodlust, and also Batterings in the side, right? Not being able to run those cards, I think, will hamper this deck for sure, and it will make it a little bit less consistent and give options, right? With what the current cards exist right now, I think there is a line of play, and MySQL zone too. There is a line of play where you can just be. There's no counter to anything that you do, and you just win. Right now there's some wiggle room. If your opponent sided correctly, there's some options to it, and I think there's a lot more things for this deck to be afraid of. So that's my 2 cents. Seriously, just play the game, see if you like it, see if you think the cards are good, and don't. I don't know how to say this. I think some people get hung up on just playing the cards they always play, and that's fine. You paid for these cards and you want to play them, but moving forward, I think it's a good play, and really just experiment. I don't know how to say it anymore, but just try the cards, see, and then if you don't like the current meta, then you can be upset. But we don't know what the meta is. Find the meta and go from there. So this could be my soapbox. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you all next time.